For the past 18 years, George Stroumboulopoulos has led a prominent career in journalism. He's currently the host of the Apple Music radio show Strombo that is heard in more than 160 countries. Now, outside of that, George is an ambassador for the World Food Program, traveling in support of the agency that provides food assistance to people who need it the most. George is joining us this morning from LA to speak about his most recent trip to Syria. Good morning to you. Nice to see you.
You too. How are things?
Really well. Okay, so I have so much to ask you. I want to ask you about you being named the first Canadian to be named an ambassador for the World Food Program. Talk to us a little bit about how you got involved in the first place.
You know, they'd reached out to me a long time ago to see if it's something I'd want to participate in. But if I'm being honest with you, I didn't really want to do it because I didn't know that much about. I knew a little bit about the World Food Program, but I was loath to align myself with any massive organization. Certainly, you know, I had my own preconceived notions about what the UN was like, so I kind of stayed away from it for a long time. But as the year went on, I started to do a little bit more research, remember some of my trips in either Darfur or when I was down in Zambia and saw the work of the World Food Program. So one day I reached out to the great Stephen Lewis, the former UN Special Envoy, and I had said to him, look, man, here's what they're asking me to do to be a part of it. What do you think? And Stephen said, if you're going to be involved with the UN, that's the place to go. They do really great work. So Stephen gave me that last bit of encouragement to join the WFP. I think it was like 11 or 12, maybe a little bit more than that now, years ago. And I'm really grateful that I did, and I'm really grateful for Stephen's counsel to push me in that direction. So that's how it happened.
How it started. Well, I want to ask you, George, about your most recent trip to Syria. I understand you met a woman named Zuha. Tell me about her.
Oh yeah. Zuha's amazing. Zuha works for the WFP right now in the media department, social media, and online stuff. What's really interesting is that she used to be recipient. She used to be somebody who relied on the WFP's aid in Aleppo. Aleppo is an enormous part of her life. You saw it right there on the screen. Her and I walking through part of Aleppo and a souk, an old market that's been there like Middle Ages era. And she has this incredible ability to be really present and real and positive and laughing, but very quickly when we start talking about what happened, she tells the truth about what it really feels like to be there. And she suffered enormously. Her family, her friends did, her entire city did. And now, for her all these years later to be working with the WFP, the same organization that provided her assistance way back, it was really, really quite beautiful. Zuha is amazing and an incredible tour guide in Aleppo. And I asked her, you know, why stay? And she said, now that I'm okay, why would I leave? It's my job to stay here. My job to help, you know, would stay. Zuha was incredible.
Sounds like an amazing woman. And we know Syria is currently facing a hunger crisis due to a number of factors like inflation and, of course, losses from conflict in the country. What is the WFP doing to assist with all of that?
I mean, you know, the WFP sits in a couple of different spaces. You think about the emergency crisis response, and then there's the long-term, more sustainable thing. We're still in that first part. What you see right there is a little shop in Aleppo where sandwiches are being made. So the food comes in, goes into there. It's very carefully weighed to make sure that it's real, put into vans, taken right to schools, and handed out to schools. Canada is a big donator. Canada, in fact, is a pretty big supporter of the WFP's work in Syria. So school feeding lunches, you're looking at 12 million people who are classified as food insecure in Syria. Almost another 2 million on the verge of sliding into hunger, and that is just in one country. You talk about the various factors that contributes to Syria's situation from the end of 2019 into the spring of 2022 or 2022. The value of the currency dropped about 84%, and the cost of food increased 13 times. So there's just no way for anybody to make ends meet there. Then you've got the winter coming and fuel shortages and rationing. It's a pretty intense time, and it's one of the reasons why we went there. I wanted to shine a light on the work being done with the WFP and show people in Canada where some of your money's going and why it's really important to encourage our government to continue to do this kind of work. Syria is a beautiful place that is part of the cradle of civilization. So much of what we have comes from that region, and I just think it's really important for us to support.
And speaking of support, George, somebody watching right now wondering how they can help, what can they do?
You can donate at WFP.org. There's a Share the Meal app, which is easier if you go to my social media at Strombo. I've got a link in the bios and all that stuff, a little link where you can donate to our Syria appeal right now. And I recognize, look, we're getting into the holiday season. It's been a really tough time for everybody watching in Canada as well. Well, except for the ultra-wealthy. It's been easy for them. But for everybody else, it's been a really challenging time. So donate what you can if you can. Every cent absolutely matters. But again, a big part of this is not just what you can do individually at home, but encouraging the people that you vote for and the people that you might be voting for, that Canada is an ideal. a promise that we're supposed to live up to, and let's live up to it. We're doing great work in Syria. A little bit more could certainly help. So it's really about what you can do if you can, but really encouraging the people in your circle to play a role as well.
Great work you're doing as well, George. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Nice to you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.